always a joy, always a joy. And as we continue a summer series, we get to dig into the family side of things. So we are in this series this summer called Are We There Yet? Right? The questions we hear on our summer vacations, but also the question we like to ask God. God, are you showing up yet? Come on, God, what's going on? Are you going to work anytime soon? Are you coming again anytime soon? Are we there yet? Are you there yet? Come on, Lord. These are questions we like to ask. We've been to the waters, to the beaches, right? Just like we like to on our summer vacations. We've gone to the mountains within Scripture. And if you've missed any of these, you can go online and catch them. Are we there yet? So we've been to the beaches and in the waters. We've been to the mountains. And now it's time for the family reunions. What do you think, huh? A little summertime family reunions? I know. As we go through this sermon, I would just watch this baptismal family in these first rows, see how they look at each other, as we go through this. And I bet we learn a thing or two, huh? No, I know the way this works because you got some family next to you. And as we start to talk about family dynamics today, oh man, do we have a good one. We have a good one as we get to go back to Abraham's son, Isaac. And if you've been traveling with us in this Are We There Yet series, we've already talked about Abram and Sarai and their son Isaac and what happened on Mount Moriah and so forth. Well, now we're going to go to Isaac and his wife Rebekah and take a look at a few things as well. Because man, families are messy, huh? Families are messy. Great joy, but holy smokes. All right, we're going to have some fun with this. Let's take a look at our theme verse. We're going to Genesis chapter 35, verse 28 and 29. Isaac lived 180 years. Then he breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people, old and full of years. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. There's some simple details there that really matter. Genesis chapter 35. I invite you to read it with me. Isaac lived 180 years. Then he breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people, old and full of years. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. All right. Here we go. We're going to be diving in. We're going to take a look at a lot of Scripture because, to be honest, this narrative is fantastic. We're going to cover multiple chapters in Genesis, and I want you to see that you can go and read this for yourself. There's all kinds of details we could dig into, and we're just not going to have time today. And so please read this on your own, starting, if you want, for this story, we're going to dig into Genesis chapter 25. So what you heard comes later on. But we're going to start in Genesis chapter 25 because just like Abram and Sarai, at first they couldn't have children. Believe it or not, Isaac and Rebekah also struggled to have children. Beyond their marriage, married around 40, it took them 20 years. 20 years for Isaac to come. God had promised generations to come, and God was testing. And we go to the story now in Genesis 25. Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was childless. The Lord answered his prayer, and his wife Rebekah became pregnant. The babies jostled each other within her, and she said, "Why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord. The Lord said to her, "Two nations are in your womb, and two peoples from within you will be separated. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger." When the time came for her to give birth, there were twin boys in her womb. The first to come out was red, and his whole body was like a hairy garment. So they named him Esau. After this, his brother came out, with his hand grasping Esau's heel. So he was named Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when Rebekah gave birth to them. The boys grew up, and Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the open country, while Jacob was content to stay at home among the tents. Tells you a lot right there, doesn't it? Huh? Twins? Woo! No babies to two. I mean, if you're going to do it, you might as well just do it that way, right? One pregnancy, have a couple of kids, get out of the way. I don't know. You women are like, yeah, you crazy. You a man, and you talking like a man. Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. When they come on out, we get Esau. He's red, he's hairy, and a skillful hunter. The guy loves to get in the woods and get his hands dirty, and he's very successful and good at it. And then this other character, he likes to just stay among the tents, right? I bet we got some children like that in our own households, right? Some like to get out there and attack the world, and others are just content to stay at home, right? All right. Well, notice this. because there's a little bit of a challenge in the midst of this, because Isaac, his favorite one, can you guess who it is? The son who's out in the woods, hunting, getting his hands dirty, bringing home game and so forth, food. But Mama, she got a mama boy. She's got a mama's boy. Jacob, who loves to just stay at home and so forth, probably snuggling up together, you know what I mean? Yeah. All right, well, it becomes a battle. You can imagine. Parents have their favorites. The family gets messy. Check this out. Isaac, who had a taste for wild game, loved Esau. But Rebekah loved Jacob. Once when Jacob was cooking some stew, Esau came in from the open country famished. He said to Jacob, "Quick, let me have some of that red stew. I'm famished." That is why he's also called Edom. Jacob replied, "First, sell me your birthright," because Esau's the oldest here. "Look, I'm about to die," Esau said. "What good is the birthright to me?" But Jacob said, "Swear to me first." So he swore an oath to him, selling his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau some bread and some lentil stew. He ate and drank, then got up and left. So Esau despised his birthright. See, in Jewish heritage and culture, the oldest son would get a double portion of all the family's inheritance. And if there's the big family farm and so forth, it's the job of the oldest son to keep the family farm going and so forth. So now the oldest is supposed to care for the younger siblings and so forth, but they're the ones who really inherit the big portion. Well, you notice what just happened. The younger son just received the birthright of the older son because one was hungry and one had made some stew. You think this is going to cause any rift in the family? All right. I'm sure Esau, the older brother, was like, "Oh, come on, I can say a few words right at the dinner table. It's no big deal. It'll be forgotten later on. Dad's not going to give it to Jacob. He doesn't really love Jacob as much as me, right? Jacob just likes to cuddle with mama, right? And I'm out there hunting and so forth." You get the idea? But an undisclosed number of years pass. We don't know the exact number of years. But this occurs a couple chapters later. When Isaac was old, and his eyes were so weak that he could no longer see, he called for Esau, his older son, and said to him, "My son, here I am," he answered. Isaac said, "I am now an old man and don't know the day of my death. Now then, get your equipment, your quiver and bow, and go out to the open country to hunt some wild game for me. Prepare me the kind of tasty food I like, and bring it to me to eat, so that I may give you my blessing before I die." Okay? Dad to oldest son, head on out. Cook me some food. I don't know how much longer I'm going to live. My eyesight's failing. I might fail soon as well, but I want to give my blessing to you. Well, guess who overhears? Mama. Mama. And Mama goes to Mama's boy. Says, "Hey, Jacob, let's devise a plan. You put some hair all over your body so that when Dad touches you, he'll think you're your brother," right? So they take some animal hair and they put it all over his body. He dresses in his brother's clothes. He makes the special meal and gives it to Dad. And just take a look at what happens. So he went to him, that is Jacob, went to him and kissed Isaac. When Isaac caught the smell of his clothes, he blessed him and said, "Oh, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field that the Lord has blessed. May God give you heaven's dew and earth's richness, an abundance of grain and new wine. May nations serve you and peoples bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers. And may the sons of your mother bow down to you. May those who curse you be cursed, and those who bless you be blessed." But who did Isaac just bless? The younger one, Jacob. Not Esau. Uh-oh. Because then Esau, who was hunting, comes back with game and comes to talk to Dad. Here's the encounter. When Esau heard his father's words, he burst out with a loud and bitter cry, because Esau had gone in. And his father said, "Wait a minute. I just gave my blessing. Who was that?" "It wasn't me, Dad." Oh. And here's Esau's response. He hears the father's words that he gave away the blessing. He burst out with a loud and bitter cry and said to his father, "Bless me too, my father." But he said, "Your brother came deceitfully and took your blessing." Esau said, Isn't he rightly named Jacob?" The one grasping at the heel, the one who's deceitful. This is the second time he's taken advantage of me. He took my birthright, and now he's taken my blessing. Then he asked, haven't you received any blessing for me? Haven't you reserved any for me? Isaac answered Esau, I have made him lord over you, and have made all his relatives his servants, and I have sustained him with grain and new wine. So what can I possibly do for you, my son? Esau said to his father, do you have only one blessing, my father? Bless me too, my father. Then Esau wept aloud. Hear the emotion, the frustration, the anger. Oh man, how's this gonna go in the family, huh? Dad's dying, older brother, strong, skillful hunter who takes down wild game. How's that gonna go against mama's boy, huh? Mama and mama's boy. Okay, story unfolds a little further. Esau held a grudge against Jacob because of the blessing his father had given him. He said to himself, the days of mourning for my father are near, meaning I know my dad's gonna die soon, and then I will kill my brother Jacob. There you go. When Rebekah was told what her older son Esau had said, hold on a minute, earlier it said he said to himself. Obviously he said this to more than himself, because this gets back to his mother. All right, when Rebekah was told what her older son Esau had said, she sent for her younger son Jacob and said to him, your brother Esau is planning to avenge himself by killing you. Now then, my son, do what I say. Flee at once to my brother Laban in Haran. Stay with him for a while until your brother's fury subsides. Oh, and we get a whole nother section of the story because Jacob listens. And Jacob runs away from Esau and goes to other family living in Haran. Oh, and do you know the story of Haran? I'm going to give it to you really quick because there's a lot of details. You really should read this for yourself. In Haran, wouldn't you believe that he starts working for his uncle? He falls in love with one of the daughters. Whoa, yeah, that Rachel, she's cute. Yeah, and goes, can I marry her? Sure, you work for me 7 years and you can marry Rachel. However, the oldest daughter, Leah, had not been given in marriage yet. And so on the wedding night to Rachel, the father sends in Leah to consummate the marriage. And so Jacob ends up marrying the oldest sister, Leah, first. The scriptures are very interesting about her beauty. A little dull on the eyes. I'm serious here, all right? So Leah's now married off, and Jacob gets upset. Oh, I wonder, isn't it fascinating how he's so deceitful to his older brother, and all of a sudden deceitfulness comes and gets him, all right? Then he goes, wait a minute, I wanted to marry Rachel. And the uncle goes, okay, work for me another 7 years, and you can have Rachel in marriage. Oh, so he does. He works 7 more years. Now he's got Leah and Rachel. Do you think this is going to be a mess at all in a family to marry sisters? Come on, people. This is not healthy stuff, right? All right, so then there's another 6 years of working for Laban because he's trying to get his wages, and Laban's now playing games with him. He's changing his wages and all this kind of stuff. Well, eventually, 20 years later, Jacob now has 2 wives and has also had children with the oldest daughter, Leah's, 2 servants. So there's actually like 2 wives and 2 concubines and 11 sons and a daughter. How's that, huh? And now a bunch of lambs and rams and cows and so forth, and they're finally going to head home because Jacob can't take it anymore. Laban's been mistreating him in certain ways. It's a big mess. So he kind of sneaks away. But then Laban comes down, tracks him down, and so forth. But then Jacob finally gets away from his father-in-law. How many of us, right? Trying to get away from our father-in-laws? Okay. I love my father-in-law. I got to make sure I say that. They watch this. They catch this at some point. I'm going to get in trouble here. All right? I love him. He goes back, though, to his homeland. But guess who's going to be in his homeland? His brother. How's it going to go? Family reunion time, huh? Woo! Have we gotten any messier in this family? Huh? Here we go. Watch how this happens, okay? They're approaching. They know they're within 1 day of Esau because these are days of hiking and marching and so forth. Jacob sent messengers ahead of him to his brother Esau, right? That's a pretty wise thing to do, right? We're going to send him a day in advance, some messengers, because if he starts slaughtering my messengers, guess what he's probably going to do to me? Okay? I mean, there's some strategy here. So he sends the messengers ahead in the land of Seir, the country of Edom. He instructed them, this is what you are to say to my lord Esau. You notice that? My lord. He's coming with humility. He's looking to him as his older brother. Your servant Jacob says, I have been staying with Laban and have remained there till now. I have cattle and donkeys and sheep and goats and male and female servants. Now I'm sending this message to my Lord that I may find favor in your eyes. When the messengers returned to Jacob, they said, we went to your brother Esau, and now he is coming to meet you with 400 men. Yay! Right? Okay? This is really good. Do you see the power play going on here? Huh? I'm so glad this is not like our families ever, right? The older brother, the younger brother, the way they wrestle, the power plays, huh? My goodness. All right. So what's going to happen? Let's take a look. He spent the night there. That is Jacob. He just stopped. He's wondering, what do I do? He spends the night there. From what he had, he selected a gift for his brother Esau. Okay, how do you soften this? He's coming with 400 men. How do you soften this? Send a bunch of gifts, right? I love you, brother. Look at what I got for you, okay? 200 female goats, 20 male goats, 200 ewes, 20 rams, 30 female camels with their young, 40 cows, 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys, and 10 male donkeys. He put them in the care of his servants. If you're going to slaughter anything, take this, slaughter them, and I'll know, and I'm going to run the other way. Each herd by itself, and said to his servant, see, he even spaces them out, so there's timing pieces to this. Go ahead of me, keep some space between the herds, right? Don't let them just attack you all at once. I need a messenger to run back and let me know. And he instructed the one in the lead. When my brother Esau meets you and asks, who do you belong to and where are you going and who owns all these animals in front of you, then you are to say to him, they belong to your servant Jacob. They are a gift sent to my lord Esau, and he's coming behind us. All right. All right. And then we get this, Genesis 33. Jacob looked up. The day had gone by. And there was Esau. It's the moment. Coming with his 400 men. So he divided the children among Leah, Rachel, and the 2 female servants. He put the female servants and their children in front. You learn how valuable you are by this order right here, don't you? Female servants and their children up front. Okay? Leah and her children next. And Rachel and Joseph in the rear, right? The wife he really wanted, who actually had one son. You got to read this. It's fascinating. He himself went on ahead and bowed down to the ground 7 times as he approached his brother. But Esau ran to meet Jacob and embraced him. He threw his arms around his neck and kissed him, and they wept. Huh. Is that what you imagined? They embrace, they kiss, and I wonder if Jacob's like, is the knife coming in the back as I hug? Esau asks, what's the meaning of all these flocks and herds I met? He knows. To find favor in your eyes, my lord, he said. But Esau said, I already have plenty, my brother. Keep what you have for yourself. No, please, said Jacob. If I have found favor in your eyes, accept this gift from me. For to see your face is like seeing the face of God. Now that you have received me favorably, please accept the present that was brought to you, for God has been gracious to me, and I have all I need. And because Jacob insisted, Esau accepted it. Then Esau said, let us be on our way. I'll accompany you. Okay, so what's going on here? This is actually a little bit of bargaining, Middle Eastern bargaining and so forth. So initially a gift is given in Middle Eastern culture, and the polite thing to do is you refuse it no matter what. No. But then he insists, and he insists, and he insists, right? But see, if he accepts, if Esau accepts the gift, what he's saying is, I forgive you for all your past sins. I accept the gift in payment, in replacement for all the past harm. That's what he's saying. So if Esau does not accept the gift at all, he's telling Jacob very clearly, I am not forgiving you, brother. But Jacob is insisting because he's like, I need you to forgive me, brother. I can't go one step further unless you forgive me because I'm not walking with you and your 400 men. You understand what's going on? And then Esau, come on, brother, let's go. I'll accompany you. Do you get this? This is still a power play. I'm accepting this forgiveness statement, but me and my 400 men are going to be camped around your tent all night long. For every day of the journey back to the homeland. And guess what? Look at the strength and the power I have, that even when we get back to the homeland, look at who I am. I lead 400 men. What do you got? A couple servant girls? A couple kids? You see what's going on here? Still a power play. I still got you. The upper hand, Esau wants to make sure is loud and clear. I have it on you, little brother, no matter what's happened in the past.
Everything's not going good. I'm very uncomfortable. I have no power. I mean, why should she have the upper hand? Once in my life, I would like the upper hand. I have no hand at all. She has the hand. I have no hand.
Hand me that, would you?
Yeah. How do I get the hand?
We all want the hand. Hand is tough to get. You got to get the hand right from the opening.
The hand. We want the upper hand, don't we? We want the upper hand in this world. We want the upper hand with our family. When we go back to our family reunions, right, we want to come in our nice vehicle, right? We want people to look at us and go, wow, they're doing well for themselves. That's pretty good. Yeah, you ought to see how good my kids are, too, and all the sports they're playing and the clubs they're a part of, right? We want the upper hand. We want a certain value piece and so forth. Well, Esau's making sure Jacob gets this. They do reunite, and that's where our theme verse will come. And that's why it's such a big deal that Esau and Jacob are both there to bury Isaac, because believe it or not, Isaac has lived this entire time. That's why he's got to live to 180 for this whole reconciling process to take place, so Jacob can be back for this. Because the family of God is actually going to flow through Jacob and not Esau. Jesus will come from the lineage of Jacob. King David will come from the lineage of Jacob. Isn't that fascinating? God uses it all. God's hand has been involved in it all. But there's 4 principles I want to walk through, because what do we take away from this family reunion? This matters as we think of our own families and the own messiness of life. No one is without fault. So when we go into our family reunion time, or maybe we're frustrated with a sibling or a parent or a grandparent, aunt, uncle, cousin, whatever it might be, family, friend, neighbor, no one is without fault. Each of us step in. There is conflict because we both have a part to play. Maybe we're both trying to get the upper hand on each other. That doesn't normally go well. Who comes in with humility? Who comes in with, you know what, that's great. I'm so glad for you. I don't have to one-up you, right? You ever sit around with a group of guys and they're all just trying to one-up each other with a story? Oh, yeah, well, there was this one time I saw this bull moose and it was this big. Okay. Yeah. But I got this close to it. Oh, yeah, well, this one time I slapped a bull on the rear. Mark Twain always said, a man who's pulled the bull by the tail has learned a few things that another one has not. Yeah, okay. No one is without fault. 2, God's design matters. I don't know if you're tracking this, but how messy we can get in our lives. God designs relationship in certain ways. God designs male and female in certain ways. God designs marriage in certain ways. It's a beautiful thing to be one man and one woman in God's design and holy matrimony. And when we go outside of that, it gets messy. You notice Isaac and Rebekah, actually, they do that, but then they're messy. They've got favorites in the kids. How well does that go? Anybody else have favorites? You know, parents, you want to, I'm just kidding. Don't raise your hands right now. Kids are watching. But man, you get those favorites and it just creates angst and anxiety in the family. There's battle, there's wrestle, and if you don't see it, wait till you die. Then it really comes out. Huh? Wow. Messy. And then Jacob, what in the world's he doing? He's going to marry 2 sisters who then are going to battle, and the oldest sister, who he doesn't really want, is the one who has all the sons until finally God blesses Rachel. I think God's trying to teach him something in the process. And then he's going to have children with a couple handmaidens. It's like, what a mess. Have we seen this elsewhere with Abraham and Sarah? What a mess with Hagar and Ishmael. God's design matters. In fact, I pull this up because Esau, look at Esau. He's not innocent in all of this. Look at Genesis 26. I just find this fascinating. Some of you will resonate with your own families, and you don't need to raise your hands or say anything, okay? When Esau was 40 years old, he married Judith, daughter of Beri, the Hittite, and also Basemath, daughter of Elon, the Hittite. They were a source of grief to Isaac and Rebekah. To capture what they're saying? Esau gets married to 2 Hittite women, and man, what a pain. What a pain they were in the family. And you know this, grandparents, parents, When your children marry spouses that come in and add to the family in beautiful ways, what a gift. What a gift. In this, what really is going on is Esau went to ungodly nation, the Hittites, and married ungodly women who did not believe. And so what a mess when you have a believer and an unbeliever who come together in holy matrimony. It's painful and a heartache. It ensues from there. There's great difficulty. God's design matters, okay? I'm not casting judgment. I'm simply saying God's design, he has the best way for us to move forward. Will we listen? No one was without fault. God's design matters, and we should wrestle with God before wrestling with others. A part of the story of Jacob that we had to leave out there for just sake of time is that when he spent that night and he started to strategize and send people, servants, kids, so forth, wives ahead of him, he wrestled with God that night. He wrestled with God, and we always do best to wrestle with God before we try to wrestle with people. We do best to go to God, talk to God, share with God, whatever the emotion is and so forth, and then try to have the heart of God as we go and reconcile with people, because that's God's heart. He wants to save people. He wants to heal people. He wants to forgive people. And he wants us to walk this same journey and this same road. So we should wrestle with God before wrestling with family members. Maybe we got to wrestle with God before we go to the family reunion, so we're ready, okay? And number fourth point of all of this, things can get better, but they won't be perfect. You get that? Things can get better, but they won't be perfect. I'm afraid that too often we want perfection in our families, and we allow perfection to destroy good. Do we allow the perfect to destroy joy and peace? Do we lose hope because it's not perfect? Because guess what? It won't be. Because of point number one, no one's without fault. Because somebody's going to say something at some point. I thought the relationship was getting better, and there they go, their old same ways, right? That passive aggressiveness. They jabbed me again. Oh, they're just trying to get the upper hand. Yep, because they're people. And so are you. We're human beings. And there's this natural course of things that run through us. It can get better, but it won't ever be perfect on this side of heaven. We long for that day. So enjoy your family. They're a gift. God has a beautiful design. And as we get to be in relationship with God, we get to be in relationship with others. And then may it be true of each of us. And we go back to our theme verse for today. Read it with me, Genesis 35. Isaac lived 180 years. Then he breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people, old and full of years. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. A long, beautiful life, with children and gathered amongst the people, and his sons were there together. Thanks be to God. Amen. I invite you to stand. We go before the Lord because we admit we're not without fault. We are sinners in need of a Savior, but have no fear. That's why God continues to work in our hearts and our minds and our lives and in our families. Let's take a moment of quiet before the Lord.